Very good evening. I thought I promised I'd do this live transmission with the council meeting, so I hope you've all been well and enjoying the lead up to Christmas, and COVID has been kind to you. And if you're of the vaccine kind, you've got your vaccine, and if you're waiting, you get it soon, and you're not of the vaccine kind, well I hope you just take care of yourself. The meeting starts at 6 o'clock. As always, what I'll try and do is broadcast the meeting, and if you've got any questions, just fire the questions up, and I'll try and answer them either by just typing responses or pausing not pausing, switching it to myself whilst they're talking gobbledygook. I have one small problem so far. Maybe some of you can have a look. I can't seem to find the meeting on the council's webpage. The only one that's coming up is the cabinet meeting of the 13th of December. So they've not put the live link up yet. So please, by all means, have a look. And if any of you find the link, send it me. Otherwise, it will be a brief transmission because the council hasn't put the link up on its own webpage during coronavirus, when the guidance is to stay at home. So, hey, what do I know? What do I know? Hi, Denise. Christmas stocking filling messages are coming through for my daughter's got a fascination with rubbers, pencil rubbers. So she's found a collection of pencil rubbers, and she's gone, anyone and everyone who will entertain her, she's sharing her how all she wants for Christmas is a set of pencil rubbers. So I think her grandparents are buying her. Hey, Evan. Good to hear from you, bro. Hey, Lisa. Hey, Evan. Good evening, Kenny. Yeah. And Sue, I can't find it. I can't find it. They're meant to put this live link up to the council meeting, and it's not there. Oh, don't you start. Don't you start with these. Hi. Good evening, Anita. Hope you're well. Anita contacted me the other day. Apparently, the malicious blogger is on another rant. Anita, I don't even know why you waste your time with him, so I really don't. He has no interest in our town, and if anything, I reckon he is getting paid. I reckon he gets paid for every person he distracts from us, from the town. Yeah, that's what's on, Sue, but that's not the live meeting, is it? That's that's the recording meeting from Monday, the cabinet meeting. All I'm getting is this. I'll show you. You can see live council meetings online, and that's all I'm getting. Have I had my hair cut? Yes, I've had my hair cut. Yeah. My friend came round today and cut it. I'd missed the last 2 appointments, so I finally got it cut. No, Denise. What they're meant to do, as per the guidance that they follow themselves, allegedly, is they're meant to put the link up for the council meeting on their webpage, which is the live council meeting online link that I've just put up. And unfortunately, it's not on there. During COVID, when the recommendation is stay at home, if you can, work from home if you can, and it's not there. Can I ask? No one does that. Come on, Anita. You'd be better off going and helping out at a hostel. You'd be better off going and spending your time helping out with a charity over Christmas than wasting your time with those idiots. But I'll let you off, seeing as though you're still recovering and yeah, you're getting back to walking. Would that surprise you, Julie? I don't think that'll surprise me. I don't think that'll surprise me either. So we'll see. No, a friend of mine cuts my hair. Has done for a long time. No, I can't find it. So if any of you can find it, great, send me a link. I've got my phone in my hand. And we'll try and get it on. And if we can't get it on, well, I'll just have a natter. As I've turned the candles on and turned myself on, I'll have a natter with you for a half an hour or so. And then I'll get on. Yeah, I can fill you in with this. No, so bail yesterday. What's happening with this bail suit is repeatedly, the day before I'm due to surrender, on the day I'm due to surrender, I get a letter. And the letter is to extend the bail for another 2 weeks, another 3 weeks. So they've bailed it to early January now. And by the time, by the time I surrender in January, it'll be just under 6 months. Where I'll have been on bail without charge. I've contacted the CPS directly, and they're not happy with me contacting them directly. But there's a way in which I can do it through filling in forms, and I have done, and that's what's happened. Now I'm hearing the council meeting has been delayed to 7:30. I'm not sure if this is true or not. No, 7:30 GB News will be the hotel in Chadderton South, the Victoria Hotel. It's the Bowler Hotel, isn't it? No, of course it's not legal. But they've... I think what these people are used to is people getting scared of them, or people just giving up and being really passive and accepting their fate from, well, that's not me. That's not where I am, and that's not what I'm going to do. So, it's not legal. It'll come out in the wash. I think the intention is to age me, is to tire me out, is to exhaust me, is to intimidate me. And ultimately, I think the aim also is to stop me from doing what I've done so far. They're 6 months bail without charge. I forced out of the CPS. I mean, this is the interesting bit. I forced out of the CPS, and his name is Detective Sergeant Christopher Dean. And they watch these transmissions and everything I do. Technical issue, so no live stream. Well, there you go. No live stream. It's not a technical issue. What they are doing is, what the council are doing is they know what we do. So this is to prevent us from relaying the. Oh wow! Do you know when I say democracy is broken in this town? You know when I say democracy is broken, it's it's bent. It's just at every level this council is bent. They've now got to the point where they're running scared, and they're not even fulfilling their own obligations to live stream council meetings because one bloke with a microphone will play it to a group of 28, 29, 30 people who'll critique what's going on. Oh, okay. Well, I've turned it on. You know what I'm going to do? I've turned it on. It's going to be boring anyway, isn't it? Let's be honest. So if they do put it online, I'll do something with it, and I'll replay it, and I'll do it another night. Well, probably won't be this week, but I'll do it another night. But be under no sense of illusion. The council failing to live transmit the full council meeting, as they are obliged to do, is not a technical hitch. It is an intentional action of a corrupt, paedophile protecting institution that is running scared, has been exposed at every level for the dodgy deals, the dodgy relationships, and their direct involvement in protecting child sex offenders. That is what's going on. I did look at the minutes, and they've redistributed the debt. I mean, the limit they can borrow. You know, like you have a credit card. What's it called? Limit, and your limit over a period of time goes up and up and up, and sometimes when things go on in the world, your limits then come down with no fault of your own. Well, I'm not sure what's gone on, but the council's credit limit has been reduced. It's buried in the small print of one of the agenda items, and there's an acknowledgement for the capital receipts, the sort of the capital build, the buildings projects and stuff, all the crap they've wasted tens of millions of pounds on for decades and decades. They've going to go over £500 million in debt, over £500 million in debt, and that's just on that one strand. Nothing to do with anything else, just on that one strand. They're going to go over £500 million. Now I know, and we are, I think it's clear. We are, because trust has gone. All trust has gone in this town with Arooj Shah's bent, mobster affiliated council. Now, remember when I started this and some of you were on this journey with me? Indeed, Sue, that's exactly what it is. When you're on this journey with me, and if you go on my old council, my old Recusant 9 web page, I'll do it here. Let me do it here. So I'll bring this up. Just give me a second. This is the old Recusant 9 webpage. It's great. Before I carry on with this, it's absolutely great. You need to understand, we have got them running scared. And we've had them running scared for a while because we have exposed, and the new guy that's come in, Dirty Harry, is just as inept as all the others. And I'll tell you something interesting about that guy. If you went to the meeting yesterday, the big con in Royton, you'll have heard how aggressive and angry Dirty Harry gets, Harry Caffrell, and how he repeatedly intercedes people who are asking questions and gets aggressive. He gets aggressive with members of the public who are paying his wages. Just who does that man think he is? He's a bully. He's an outright bully. Harry Caffrell, come and try that on with me. I'll see what you just see what I do to you. Just see what I do to you, Dirty Harry scumbag. Getting aggressive with, in the main, some middle-aged women, some elderly women who go and want to ask the council leader some questions because they want to be told, they want to be reassured that all of this that I've been releasing is not true. No. So the dodgy as anything. So let me show you something. You see this? Yeah. This is the web page I set up after my Medium page, where they got rid of one of these articles. This article, they censored it because they claimed it was libelous, and they went to Medium, who did something very unusual for them. They actually backed down, so they must have gone with some heavyweight lawyers. And it would have been the Labour Party. And I'll say it again here. What this article did. Where a councillor cruises with criminals in cars. We now know it's true. The council leader is the one who cruises with criminals in cars. And the MP hides nudes of grooming gangs in shisha bars. They claimed all of this was false. Remember? Her Gelato's Ice Lounge, and last night she caused some chaos on that as well. Some more barefaced lies came from her last night, and I've got the evidence. Yeah, and the grooming gang stuff, they claimed it was false. There's all of this stuff. All of these emails that are released, the dossier of emails are released. Remember these? From the police. Look at that. The famous ones. Look whose name's on the top of that. Hayden Roberts. This famous email now. It's been shared everywhere. And everyone's an expert. It's brilliant. Man claiming very limited knowledge. Nah, he's a paedophile protector. Because that's what you are when grooming gangs are operating out of shisha bars and you keep the news from the public. You're protecting paedophiles. What else are you? If you're aware that grooming gangs are operating out of shisha bars and the BBC is about to break a story and you interject and you stop it from happening, or you're part of, involved in stopping it from happening and the news breaking. So you and I, as ordinary parents in a town, are none the wiser. What is the consequence? What are you doing as a politician? You're protecting paedophiles. And the absurdity of that, as it appears, it's a far-right conspiracy. It's those who want to create a race war. They don't care about kids. It's a far-right conspiracy, I was repeatedly told. But I had the evidence in front of me. And I trust this, and I trust this, and I have an instinct. And it wasn't. It wasn't a far-right conspiracy. And it wasn't a far-right conspiracy. It was Operation Augusta. And the report last year showed was confirmation by frontline police officers that they were told to ignore just under 100 predominantly Pakistani, Asian, so, in that demographic of what they were, predominantly Pakistani members of the grooming gangs, as they trafficked, groomed and gang raped children. The police were told to ignore the trafficking and grooming, systematic grooming and gang rape of our town's children, of our city's children. And I sat there next to Julie in the meeting with Andy Burnham a couple of weeks ago. And what I found really, really interesting in that meeting, let's get that there. What I found really, really interesting in that meeting was Beverly Hughes, whose role is not just deputy mayor, but she has delegated responsibility as the police and crime commissioner. She got up, faced us, and acknowledged that the grooming and gang rape of children and these grooming gangs and the failures of all of them was not just true, but she used the term epidemic to describe it. She described what has took place in our town as an epidemic. So how many of our children? How many of our children and over how long? And do you know what I found? Predictable, but also saddened, was how the Oldham Times, the Oldham Chronicle, the Manchester Evening News all ignored the police and crime. None of them reported on it. None of them reported on Beverly Hughes, the police and crime commissioner, Baroness Beverly Hughes, the police and crime commissioner, standing up and making reference to the abuse of children. And the context she was making reference to it was in reference to the Pakistani, mainly Pakistani, occasionally Bangladeshi, nearly always Muslim, grooming gangs as an epidemic. And not one of them reported it. If I ran a newspaper, the word epidemic would be the headline. Followed by a list of councillors and politicians who at every stage of up to that point had tried to block the people of our town fighting for justice. McMahon's name would be there. The barefaced liar, Sean Fielding's name would be there. Arood Shah's name would be there. Howard Sykes' name would be there. And so on and so on. So no, I don't believe it was a technical hitch. And the reason I don't believe it was a technical hitch is I want to show you something. I created this section called Players, where I was naming them. I was happy to name these people. Here he is, at the top of the tree. Gone. Yeah, gone. Now leader of the council, and everyone knows of her mobster affiliations and how much of a barefaced liar, worse barefaced liar she is than the former. She's actually far more dangerous than Fielding. Mobster affiliated. Exposed for benefiting from the council rigging an election that he stood in. Rigging an election. The coldest election was rigged, and that's how Abdul Jabbar remains a councillor. That's him at a men thing. That's one of those Islamic organisations. Chauhan, exposed. Chauhan's lining up to be the next leader, by the way. There's an interesting fight going on in the background between Amanda Chatterton's lot and Dr. Chauhan's lot of lining up to be the next councillor in May, next leader in May. This is where it gets really interesting. Running away, gone, sacked, whatever, gone. One of her last acts, writing a letter via the lawyers confirming her council had rigged an election. Gone. Gone. Oh, she's got a P45. Look at this. When I wrote this, when I started this, these three were the most stable jobs. They were going $250,000, 150 grand each. All gone. Gone, gone, gone. And they'll dress it up. That dirty Harry will dress it up as it's a restructure. Exposed. Exposed as being a bent solicitor, and it's going to get worse because last night Arooj Shah put him in it. Arooj Shah put him in it. Arooj Shah claimed last night she had been given advice to hide her declaration of owning Gelato's Ice Lounge. It doesn't explain why she then backdated her resignation on Company's House, because that's just fraud. I'm happy to say it in a camera. That's just fraud. Paul Bentwhistle. And these are the people they hit. Look. Daddy. Simon Carter. Look at Mahmood. Irish Imi. These are just some of the individuals that this council has direct relationships with. So, at the same time as the council meeting is going on, sorry, is anyone be able to contact anyone there? Who's chairing it? Is Jenny Harrison actually at the mayor there? Let me just text someone and I'll explain to you why whilst I'm texting someone. And if any of you know, by all means, it's like the failing to stream this meeting is like those dodgy police stations where, you know, someone gets killed in a cell or some poor woman gets raped in a cell by a bunch of dodgy policemen, and the cameras suddenly, you know, and when you're going to look at the cameras and the cameras suddenly weren't working that day in that cell. That's what it reminds me of. No, John, the council meeting is not being shown live because it's they've decided they've got a technical glitch. My friend, the council have decided they've got a technical glitch and they can't live stream it. If you believe that, go right ahead. So on Sunday, Medlock Vale deselected the Labour Party branch of Medlock Vale deselected the existing Labour Party councillor who was due to stand the election in May, Yasmin Tour. Only 4 people is the information that's relayed to me. 4 people voted for her, and something like 70 voted for the replacement. So a long-serving Labour Party councillor who was only a couple of days earlier delivering leaflets with Arud Shah was deselected, and she now will not be standing for election. And she was replaced by somebody else. Now, I don't know the ins and outs of somebody else, of somebody else, but I know the context, and I'll share this with you because it is really, really important. And remember, they claim I lie about the cartels. Well, I'll tell you what my analysis is of what took place. Last May, Atikur Rahman, the existing Labour Party councillor, was took out in Medlock by a conservative Asian councillor, Sahabid, a young woman. Now, very few people at the beginning expected Sahabid to win. Asian people, Asian families, Muslim families, block vote, don't vote Conservative. Not in Oldham anyway. Just have a look around you. They don't vote Conservative. And when the cartels have fought out with each other, it's been an Asian candidate from the Labour Party fighting out with an Asian candidate from the Lib Dems, usually. That's how it's usually played out. Now, what happened with Saha was she ended up with a massive cartel vote, faction vote, which crossed her over the finishing line. A disgruntled faction of the cartel in Medlock Vale, or the Pakistani cartel in Medlock Vale. And by that I mean Coppis. Yeah, that's what we mean, Coppis. Of who wanted their own leader as the councillor, but had been prevented from doing so because the Labour Party branches had been, in the Asian areas across the board, had been pretty much suspended, blocked from having challenges to who stands for the councillor from the party. So once this faction flexed their muscles and took out Atikur Rahman, all the back channel communication lines were open with Labour Party headquarters, all the way up to our samosa nibbler, Brother Jamal. And from that, he quickly came to the realization that if this faction continued to oppose him, other factions in other areas would do the same. And his block Muslim vote in Colders, in Medlock, in Wearmouth, and not Chadderton North would be split in half, and his position would come at risk. And as night follows day, all of these branches that, due to their own levels of corruption, had been prevented from selecting candidates and having, selection panels for their own candidates, it was suddenly opened up again. And this faction in the Coppis cartel smiled and said, "That's all right, Jim. Now we've got our way. We'll make sure the block vote keeps coming your way. And there was a nomination to stand against Yasmin Tour, an existing Labour Party councillor for several terms, without any sleaze attached to her. Whether she's a good councillor or a bad councillor is an irrelevance in some ways. There was no sleaze attached to her. You've not seen me reference her and say she's dodgy here or she's dodgy there. I've done none of that. There's no dodginess attached to Yasmin. And they've got rid of her. They've got rid of her just like that. And they got someone that represents them, that's someone they control, and someone who no doubt will make sure things continue as it suits the existing power dynamic in the town. So that's what happened in Coppice, in Medlock Vale. Did you read it in the Oldham Times? Did you read it in the Evening Cron? Did you understand? Even if you had read it, even if they had published it, would they have given you the context to what is actually taking place there? So, selections are now also open in the other Asian wards, or in the other cartel wards. And my understanding is there's a selection panel this evening in Alexander where Sahid Mushtaq is perhaps overshadowed by his runt of a little brother Tahir Mushtaq. Sahid Mushtaq sits on the cabinet, by the way. Yeah, sits at the high table. Is at the risk of being deselected by another cartel representative. And what's going on there is it's cartel civil wars. It's cartel civil wars. So we'll find out in the next hour or so whether the Mushtaq has been deselected. Maybe he can then go back to buying land. So he's on the verge of being deselected. And after I raised what was really taking place in Waterhead and how a small group of Asians from the Clarksfield, the Glodic overspill into Clarksfield, were controlling Waterhead, it now seems the old lefties, the old Labour white lefties up there, have suddenly been roused into thinking, oh my God, this is what's happening, we need to stop it. And they're in on the action. And there's a challenge to Riaz Ahmed. So it could be not one, not two, but 3 senior Labour councillors are ousted before Christmas. One has already gone. One might go today. Cartel civil wars. But what's really, really interesting is the challenge in Waterhead is from the white faction of the Labour Party, which just confirms that they completely agree with everything I've been raising. Because the weakest of the cartel wards is Waterhead, because it's the newest one they've really expanded into. Oh. Debbie Abrams is nowhere to be seen. And meanwhile, Arud Shah has been exposed repeatedly for a, I don't know, the word, it's not clumsy, is it? Deceitful handling of the asylum issue in Chadderton South, and the asylum seekers being shipped in there, bussed in there, whatever the term is. It's neutral from my point of view, but because, and I've been off for a month, and I have read stuff, but and I'm sorry, I'll get to that in a second, Denise. I'll get to answering that in a second. And I've just been watching stuff in passing, saying hello to some of you who've been checking in on me, and doing very little, if I'm honest. Just watching it all play out. And what I found interesting was regarding the hotel. Just as an observer, reading the papers and reading the online stuff the same as you guys, I had been under the impression, until I read the small print, I had been under the impression that those who were coming here were the Afghan refugees, who I support, we all support, the translators and their families, who need to be taken out of the Taliban-controlled area and rehoused in our country. Of course they do. They've given more to our country than many of our own people. Of course we have an obligation to them. So I was under the impression it was that demographic, and then I read more and more, and the council said, we're not getting any money for these. And I'm thinking, hold on. I know there's a pot of money for the resettlement of Afghan refugees and their families. It's 20,000 plus per person. And I read the small print of the council's response, and I dug around. And they're not the Afghans at all. But the council won't even say that. Arud Shah and the council won't. They first of all claimed it was all nonsense. Tried to claim, the hotel had nothing to do with it. The hotel was going on about fixing its roof, cancelling weddings and Christmas parties. They've all been deceitful. Arud Shah's been deceitful. She's been going around Chadderton South, handing out leaflets, avoiding confirming that these are not the Afghani asylum seekers that we have an obligation to us. They're not the Afghani refugees who, if they stayed in Afghanistan because they'd worked for our army, they'd be beheaded and their families would be killed. And what these people actually are is is those who are crossing from France. And the council seemed keen to explain there's no such thing as a bogus asylum seeker. I'm afraid there is. I'm afraid there is such a thing as a bogus asylum seeker. An asylum seeker is someone who is in a place whose life is under threat because of where they are. And I'm sorry, if you're sat in Calais, your life is not under threat because of where you are. And the history of asylum seeking has been the first safe place of refuge. These aren't asylum seekers. They're bogus asylum seekers. And I'm happy to say that. I'm not racist. None of us are racist. No. So, the council have been complicit in this. They signed us up to a scheme. In fact, Jim McMahon signed us up to the scheme of taking in. They'd get paid for it. These people would help keep our town poor in many ways. And keeping our town poor is an objective of the council because it means they historically got more grants as a consequence. and under a cloud of deception and deceit, Chadderton South now finds itself having to house hundreds of asylum seekers without any infrastructure to support these new arrivals, let alone any support to integrate them. The council are lying to you, and they've manoeuvred it in such a way where if any of us object, they've done it in such a way where if any of us object, we're racist. The schools have no infrastructure, the doctor surgeries have no infrastructure, there's no houses to go around. We've got dodgy businessmen buying historical assets, changing them into HMOs. Every decision this council has took for the last decade, more, has been to the detriment of the majority of the people who live in this town. And that doesn't matter if you're white, if you're black, if you're Muslim, you're Christian, you're Hindu. And Arud Shah, the leader of Oldham Council, is continuing in that tradition. So yeah, so that's what's taking place there. It is a disaster waiting to happen. And I read the thing, we don't know how long they'll stay. Like they're going anywhere else. You put them up in a hotel like that and they're going to go anywhere else. Where are they going to go? She's knocking on doors, John. She's knocking on doors with Jim, trying to present this God knows where from narrative of how we should be welcoming, we should be this, we should be that, and those who don't are racist. We're not racist. And then you get the liberals, the lefty liberals, who don't live in the areas that are impacted. They never do they? They never and they talk about how good it is and how we should do our bit. But they're not living next to it. It's not affecting their children's school place. It's not affecting their doctor's waiting list. It's not affecting whether or not they get a council house. In fact, most of them don't need a council house. They've already got nice houses. These people aren't going to compete for their jobs and drive down wages, are they? I think they need to be honest. Who are these people? Where have they come from? How have they ended up here? Only a month ago, Arud Shah was boasting in the newspaper that she was working in partnership with the Home Office. And now she's trying to blame the government. No, it's not the government. They've ended up here because the council have been working with them. We're no more stupid on that than we are as to why this tonight's live council meeting is not being broadcasted due to a glitch. This council is institutionally corrupt, and they excel at lying to the people of the town. That's easily stopped, Sue. The HMOs are easily stopped. You should look at who is opening the HMOs. Look at the one in Shaw, and the links it has to the cartels in Wearmouth, Coppice. Arud Shah knows them. She was hanging out with them, thumbs up or something, wasn't she? Whilst they donated hundreds of £1,000s worth of PPE equipment. How can a brand new company donate hundreds of thousands of pounds? Yeah, Jenny Harrison is chairing the council meeting, which means she's not going to be voting in Alexander. I wonder how Jenny Harrison feels. The Pakistani Shahid Mushtaq, senior Labour Party councillor, key cartel kingpin in that area, is at risk of losing his seat. Jenny, I don't think going on Pakistani TV and wishing Merry Christmas this year is going to save you. If they can get rid of Mushtaq, or if they can try and get rid of Mushtaq, do you think they're going to care about a woman like you? Nah. They're going to take you out. They're going to take you out, Jenny. Same with Barbara Brownbridge. Chadderton North. Barbara, how does it feel? She attended that party, remember, looking very, very awkward at the new wedding venue next to the Carnegie Library, the old swimming baths that let off the fireworks on the streets. With those two dodgy councillors, Mohon and Naz. Mohan and Naz were pictured with Jenny Harrison recently at the Blue Tiffin. They'd found a time to attend a function with some kickboxer. Shame they couldn't find the time to attend Remembrance Sunday service. It's only 200 yards away from the bloody mosque, Chadderton Town Hall. They couldn't find the time to go there, but they've found the time to go and hang out with some kickboxer and take a picture with the mayor. It's going to happen, isn't it? It's going to happen soon. Where there's some Al-Qaeda guy and a heroin dealer guy, thumbs up, and in the middle there'll be some and I say this with what's the word I'm looking for? Mirth. Heroin dealer, Al-Qaeda, Jenny Harrison, old white woman in the middle. No idea who the two Asian guys are next to her, but there's a samosa involved. Idiots. Absolute idiots. Can't turn up for remembrance service, but turn up to hang out with a kickboxer. And these are the councillors in our town. Oh, Tracy. So, yeah, like one last hurrah, Gary, I think, yeah. I got to wear the chains and I had a nice car. clearly missing something with you guys. You're like this little gang that I'm aware of, and I don't want to know what you're up to half the time because you lot, Anita, you're clearly up to mischief. Oh, one last thing then. One last thing from me. I'm sorry the meeting's not on. That's not on me. I'm afraid. I liked a couple of last things. There's one serious thing, but there's another comedy thing. I'll put the lyrics up. I've been working on a Recusant version of the 12 Days of Christmas. On the first day of Christmas, you got to do the accent, yeah. My brother Jamal bringing for me a samosa and some mango chutney. I've got 12. I'll put it up. I need to get it finished and put it up. But yeah, no, I was playing. Okay, what's the last thing I wanted to talk to? Oh yeah, Denise, the Oldham Academy North thing. And this is serious. This is where it hurts. I mean, the last transmission I did, I spent some time talking about Radcliffe School and this poor mother whose daughter had been sexually assaulted in school multiple times. The school covered it up. The girl tried to kill herself. The mum phoned the school from the hospital bed where her daughter tried to commit suicide, and the school wouldn't still get involved. It then transpires that Radcliffe School's head teacher makes reference to the governors having dealt with it. Well, later I went and found out that all three of the Chariton Central councillors are governors at Radcliffe's. So it was a cover-up involving the Chariton Council councillors of the suicide attempt of a child who had been sexually assaulted in school with the school's full knowledge and the school ignoring it. Not a word from the council. Yeah, not an apology, nothing from Arud Shah. Nothing from Mushtaq, who's in charge of the schools, the education portfolio. Nothing from the council officers. Safeguarding, nothing. A child nearly killed herself because she had been repeatedly sexually abused, assaulted in a classroom, in school, with the full knowledge of the school, who put the boy back in the class who'd sexually assaulted her. Blink and you'd miss it in the local newspaper. A week later, there's an Instagram post that makes the local Asian news and then makes the news to do with Oldham Academy North. And a bunch of Muslim boys are praying outside, doing Friday prayers outside in the rain. And there's outrage. There's outrage at it. Now, you all know I'm a secularist in the sense that, it's a state school. What on earth is anyone doing praying in a state school? Do one. You want to pray? Go and pray in your mosque after school. There shouldn't be no facilitation of prayer in a state school. It's not just my opinion. That's one of the givens of a state school. But there's outrage. They're in the rain. It's a health and safety issue. This could happen to them. A week earlier, this poor white girl is in a hospital bed after a failed suicide attempt because she's been sexually assaulted in school. The school are covering up the demographic background of the boy who did it. So I think there's more going on there with Radcliffe School, with 3 governors, all from Chadderton, who've been complicit in the cover-up of what's took place there. And then Oldham Academy North, a handful of children spend 20 minutes out in the rain. And all hell's let loose. All hell is let loose. The teacher who apparently kicked him out, and I've seen some of the exchanges on WhatsApp, is getting abused relentlessly Apparently she promotes gays and lesbians. So how dare she do this in a Muslim majority school? Where do you think you are? This ain't Saudi Arabia, guys. Just where do you think you are? The Equalities Act means we raise awareness on gay people and make sure that our children understand they have equal rights under the law. It's one of the values that underpin a liberal Western democracy. Oh, right. You don't want to live in a liberal Western democracy. You want to live in a Sharia law caliphate. And I'd have to bet my motorbike on what happened next. Arood Shah, whose Twitter feed includes repeated Quranic quotes, and the council have got involved to make sure this never happens again at Oldham Academy North, and these children can pray, these boys can pray. Where was your statement, Oldham Council? You disgust me. You absolutely, you don't just discuss me, you discuss the majority of our town. Where was your statement, horrified that a child tried to kill herself because she'd been sexually abused in school and the school sat back and did nothing? Where's your statement on that? Yet you're posturing to a bloc Muslim vote on a bunch of boys who chose to go outside and pray. And the obvious question from me, put aside my objection to the practicing of religion, not the learning of religion, in terms of learning about religion, but the practicing of religion. I think there's a line there for me, the straight line. We learn about religion, values, whatever, so we can get on with each other, understand. But we don't create space in a school to practice religion. And if we do, that's in faith schools. So parents know what they are letting themselves in for. They're opting into a faith school. Oldham Academy North isn't a faith school. I've gone and looked on its webpage. So it's clear. When you look at what's taking place. Oh, and with Oldham Academy North. I know Greater Manchester Police watch my transmissions. Hi, guys. Kidnapped, tortured, raped and killed any women lately? It's what you bent coppers do, isn't it? Oldham Academy North was investigated by Oldham Council for fundraising for an extremist organisation. The children in Oldham Academy North, a couple of years ago, were fundraising for an organisation that was later identified to be potentially a terrorist organisation. Ask Oldham Council. Any of you pick up the phone and ask them. Is Raja Mir lying? Was the council forced to investigate Oldham Academy North because of how it was fundraising? The council are claiming the Wi-Fi's gone down. It's a lie. Because when you go on the live council meetings online, the link is usually already up there. And it's up for hours earlier, days earlier sometimes. So the Wi-Fi going down is a lie. Because the link would have been set up beforehand. They're not good at this, are they? They're just not good at this. So Oldham Academy North, back to Oldham Academy North. History of not understanding how a state school can be exploited by extremist narratives or those with extremist agendas. And then I see all the boys praying outside, and the misogynist that I am, although they've yet to find a single woman who knows me who'd claim I was in any way a misogynist from 25, 30 years of public service. The misogynist I am, my immediate outrage is, why aren't the girls praying? So it's Friday prayers, Jummah prayers, a boy-only thing. That's in breach of the Equalities Act. Why aren't the girls allowed to do Jummah? If you're facilitating it, where are the girls? It's a mixed gender school. And those who understand Jummah prayers, Jummah basically means Friday. So Friday prayers, communal prayers, they'll know that the symbolism of the prayers, it's like it's obligatory for boys and it's voluntary for girls. But were the girls even asked? I'd hazard a guess and say no. Remember, this is a town where McMahon turns up and nibbles samosas with exclusive groups of Muslim men. These communities are sexist. They're outright sexist. They're prejudiced towards girls. So where were the girls? And those who understand Friday prayers will know there's one of the features of Jummah prayers is there's two sermons. There's a long sermon and a short sermon. The long sermon is usually taking some Quranic scripture and applying it to something going on in the world. It's a sermon. And there's a shorter sermon also that's a reflective one to do with spirituality and inside and how you deal with stuff. But what tends to happen is the imams are qualified. Who is qualified for that sermon in that school? Because those sermons have historically been repeatedly found to preach the wrong interpretations, the wrong hadiths in the wrong way, or in a way, forget the word wrong, or in a way, present in a way that amplifies separation, extremism and terrorism. Who's doing the sermons, Oldham Academy North? Where's your safeguarding? Where's your safeguarding? And instead you have Arooj Shah and the Interfaith Forum come out with their nonsense. Supporting and facilitating. And if they've done it in one school, they'll do it in all the others now. Radcliffe will have to do it. North Chad will have to do it. They'll all have to do it. Since when did we send our children to school to pray? And the quick to outrage Arooj Shah at the racism that is clearly going on there by a bunch of boys deciding to go outside in the rain. Since when did 20 minutes of rain harm anyone at that age? But quick to issue public statements with Oldham Council letterhead, but absolutely nothing on Radcliffe School, where a girl was repeatedly sexually assaulted and the school ignored it. And a desperate mother phoned the school from a hospital bed after a child had tried to commit suicide, and still the school ignored it. Where's your statement there, Oldham Council? So yes, racism is alive and well in Oldham. It's just not the kind of racism that they tell us about. It's not for me, mate. It's not for me. A state school should not be facilitating Islamic prayer and pandering to the prejudices of a community that prioritizes boys over girls. So that's me. I'm sorry about the council meeting. I will get my 12 days of Christmas thing out in the lead up to Christmas. I know some of you got in touch with me just saying I'm being quiet on Facebook. I think I did make it clear, I think, to people in the last transmission, end of November, that I was taking a break. I only came back today because I had promised I'd do something with the council meeting. I should have known the council would have run away. Oh, it's great. It's fine, isn't it? Yeah. You know, here I am with a mic and a camera and a computer, and they're running scared. So no, it's good to see all of you. I am around. So by all means, give me a call. I'm actually not around for a coffee properly. I'm carless at the moment. Got to go and borrow a car some point this week. My car's if you remember, I said the police recovered my car, but they've damaged it all. So it's in the body shop. I dropped it up at OMC Ford, the insurance company used. So the nice people at OMC Ford took my car off me, and they'll give me back in the new year, I think. So I'll be pottering around again, but I'm around. So if anyone wants a coffee or a chat or anything over Christmas, I am around. And those of you who've met me in real life, you'll know, I like to think I'm an amicable enough person, and I'm happy to sit and chat. I'll chat with anyone. And yeah, so that's that. Have I got any more news for you before I finish? Yeah. Arooj Shah is under investigation by the Labour Party because I've got the emails from the Labour Party. So Paul Boots-Eric can say what he wants. Arooj Shah can say what they want, but I've got the email and the exchanges that I've shared with some of you from the Labour Party. She's under investigation from the Labour Party for the endorsement of my murder and for a dodgy relationship. So, so that's going on. Is my begging ball still going? So this is the thing, Teresa. Am I meant to be embarrassed for asking people to, it's the equivalent of, for me, I mean, I've not mentioned it all today because I just haven't, but, if you want to buy me a coffee or buy me a samosa, if you want to subscribe to, that's entirely up to you. That's entirely up to you. Who are these people to say I can't? I'm not, well, clearly I'm not a drug dealer, am I? I've not got a secret stash of money, because the number of investigations I've endured over the last 3 or 4 years due to one malicious claim after another, if I had been dodgy with a dodgy secret stash of millions or something, do you not think something would have happened to me by now? So, I think what it is, and I've reflected on it a while, these people see the world through their eyes, and I suppose they think, what would they do if they were in my position? Well, I'm not them. It's as simple as that. A lifetime in public service, and I'm still here. I'm just bypassing the middleman and speaking directly to you. And, I've got 60 odd people who've listened to me today. I'm fine with that. I enjoy the company of people. I enjoy the company of my townsfolk. It's what I always have done. And And these people can do what they want. They can do what they want, Teresa. But no, I've not plugged it. But if any of you want to buy me a Christmas samosa, please, the link is in the YouTube thing somewhere, and you've all got it. So please do. And yeah, I thank you, Tracy. I think that's it. I provide a public service. And it's for people to decide if how. What makes me smile the most, and what makes me smile the most is when I watch, through nothing of my own, how a town has been mobilized and ordinary people have said we've had enough, and have found the courage to be the change they want to see in the town. And if I've helped just the slightest bit on that, then I'll die the wealthiest of men. So there we go. I mean, I'm planning on coming back January. I don't know in what format or how. I am aggrieved from the behaviour of some of the other councillors, the cowardice, and their endorsement of Arood Shah in the way they've done. I'm disappointed by that. But then I'm also reminded my role isn't for them. My role is for you. My role's for all of you. So there you go. Yeah. Drop me a message. Maybe we'll do something over the Christmas and New Year. And if not, have a very Merry Christmas. Look out for the 12 days of Christmas. The Recusant 12 days of Christmas. On the first day of Christmas, my brother Jamal, he bringing me a samosa and some mango chutney.
Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them.